guys doing after that victory?
Yeah, the spirit's good, as you can imagine. We brought everyone back in yesterday and did very little other than talk about the momentum that we got to carry into the week and the fact that we got to wipe the slate clean and make sure that as the week goes on we leave no stone unturned in making sure that we almost take advantage of the format, in the sense that to be so familiar with the team at this stage is it affords you the chance to be really detailed in the preparation, and we want to make sure that we carry that into everything that we do.
Given how game one went, what has to change for game two?
No, I think it's seemingly been painted as a sort of a one-sided game that we managed to scrape through. But I think if you take the first half and then the first 15 minutes of the second half, I think we had a lot of momentum at various points over the course of the first hour. I think we gave as good as we got in that sense, and I think probably where it left everyone with a sense of maybe us having been slightly fortunate to get over the line was the last 5 minutes and the last couple of chances they had. So obviously we have to make sure that we don't concede chances in the way that we did as the game went on, which was I think disappointing from our perspective, and that we carry more of what we posed in the first half into the entirety of the game away from home. I think there's lots of that game that we would want to take forward, and lots of the game that represents how the first two encounters went between the two teams, and obviously for us to be 3 for 3 over the course of this season means that we are doing something right against them. So it's certainly not a case of wanting to rip it up and start again, but there are some subtleties, of course, that we do need to address.
Is Nectar becoming a player that's one of the first names on the team sheet?
Yeah, I think he's really built upon what he did in the early stages, and he's doing what I knew strongly suspected he'd be able to do here with the level that he's come from, and the type of character that I knew he was coming into the building. He's got a real point to prove. He's not come here to stand still in any way. He really wants to progress, and he's obviously got characteristics that really help us. So first and foremost, the nature of him being a bit of a destroyer in the middle helps us. The physicality, the size, but also you saw against Seattle the composure on the ball. I think when we spend long periods defending the box low, we need people that can break lines with the ball when we regain it, people that are strong enough to handle the ball under pressure, and he represents all that, and he gives you the goal threat. I think even in spite of the fact there wasn't anything that will stick out in most people's minds, he had a couple of really good chances, and he's got a really good knack for popping up in the right spaces, and he strikes the ball really well. So I think he showed a really complete performance for a midfield player, particularly in our team, and definitely someone that we're very reliant on there.
Colin talked about his kind of ambition as well to kind of try to recruit him in. What has he kind of shared about?
I think he's got that sort of typical Aussie self-assurance, I would say, and it's not misplaced in any way. He's obviously a very capable guy, very capable footballer, and I think he's really fixated on making sure that he hits the highest level possible, and it's difficult to say what that ceiling is, but I think based upon what he's done so far, if you look at, I don't know, someone like John McGinn as an example, who was in Nectar's shoes at one point, Hibs young player of the year and a top player in Scotland, and he ends up playing however many hundreds of Premier League games, and I don't think it's beyond Nectar to look that high, and certainly based upon what he's done so far, he will hopefully be a standout player in MLS, and let's see where that takes him.
I think both on Monday and after the Galaxy game, you mentioned after the game that the team was losing a lot of duels, particularly in the second half. What do you have to do to sort of turn that?
Yeah, that's something that we will address as the week goes on, because I think if you look at a number of the chances that they got, or the clean-cut chances, they come from us regaining the ball, almost giving it away in a 50-50 battle thereafter, and then that's followed up by other missed tackles around the box, and that can't happen. I mean, the balance of the game is pretty clear against Seattle. They're a team that dominates the ball against most teams. We're certainly not a team that is going to stop them from doing that based upon how the most of the season has gone up until this point. So I think it would be almost naive to consider that's not going to be the case. So inevitably we will defend the box for long periods. When we have a chance to make tackles and we've got good numbers around the ball and we don't, then we'll find ourselves in difficulty, because that then leads to sort of more random, uncontrollable situations that you'll have seen. And I think when we do our best to keep things well under control and as predictable as possible, we do a really good job. But obviously winning tackles is a big part of that. Numbers only help you so far, and organisation and detail in terms of positioning, but then there are crucial moments where it's as basic as coming out with the ball rather than not, which we have to get right.
Is that, when you're coaching that, is that more of a technique thing or more of an effort?
No, it's not a technique thing. I think I wouldn't begin to start coaching tackling with players here. It's not that's number one. It's not really the done thing. It's firstly it's positioning, and then it's timing, and it's reading passes well, and then it's just conviction. And I think we lacked a little bit of conviction, particularly on our left-hand side as the game went on. And it was uncharacteristic. And you're not looking at someone like Will Trapp or Anthony Mechanic or Romero and seeing players that typically miss tackles, or you'd level any lack of effort or will or bite or aggression at normally. So I don't think we're going to stray too far to get that right. I wouldn't have thought.
Joaquin's service might have left a little bit lacking. Was it just, do you chalk it up to an off day, or do you look to make a change?
No, I think I think it's an off day, and he's been really reliable on the set play delivery. And I think there's as an example, the corner that comes in, the in-swinging corner that comes in that goes straight out of play early in the first half. There's probably a yard's difference between that delivery and the one against Galaxy that leads to a goal. And I think he's a player that plays with fine margins, because even in general play, he's one that is some pretty all or nothing. He's going to turn the ball over through trying to create, or he's going to create something. And I think it goes the same for set plays. He tries to take set plays with so much pace and venom and spin on the ball that is it's risky. But we're also blessed with set play deliverers, because that's without Rosales having taken a kick. And I think last year he was probably one of the best set play deliverers in the league when he got it right. So we're not short of options. And I think the thing with Joaquin, as probably the message to Rob, is if it's not always going your way on the ball, the expectancy is that the off-the-ball contribution is as it was largely, and that the bits that those guys can control, they control, and then the technical execution is sometimes, unfortunately, going to fall foul of a bad day, and that was the case for Joaquin and Rob in periods of the game, but they work really, really hard, which is the main thing.
How do you look at Bongi's day and possible for shifts up top?
Yeah, I think we got some food for thought, because obviously Kelvin he'll be another week on. I think the beauty of the way this series now will possibly pan out. Maybe it goes another 2 games. If it doesn't go another 2 games, then we know we've progressed, and that's certainly going to give Kelvin more and more time to get back to his best. So that's important for us. But I think Bongi did a really, really good job given the context of the game. I think if you were to watch the game back in detail, the defensive performance from Bongi was phenomenal. I mentioned after the game that it's a real selfless performance and a real detailed performance, and I think a lot of the sort of the coaching and the work that's been done with Bongi around some of the subtleties to defending at wing back have actually stood him in really good stead when he's playing as a number 9, and another very good defensive forward, but also one that can get very good chances, and you've seen that with the incident around the possible penalty and the relentlessness that he runs in behind with, and I think for Yamar Reagan, he's a hard player to play against, because he's always waiting for that misread bounce of a ball or poor touch, and he's there to capitalise. So I think Bongi, in spite of the fact that he spent the large majority of his game defending at the top of the box, he also had 2 very good chances. So and a couple of breakaways on top of that. So he's a really good fit for us there at the moment. And I think with the way Joe played at right wing back, we're not desperate to force Bongi back into that position.
Obviously, nobody really wants to end up in a penalty shootout, but after so many, it must just be sort of a calm thing for everybody.
I think at home you always trust that you've at least got the advantage with the crowd and with how sort of Dane conducts the crowd to an extent. I think that really helps you. But I think in general we would feel as confident as you can be in a penalty shootout if it was to go that way again, and I'm sure for them that wouldn't be a situation that they would want to find themselves in, particularly with what is on the line for them now, having to win that second game. So the dynamics they certainly do become interesting in this best of 3 format, and I'm sort of embracing it rather than resisting it, and it's slightly easier to do that when you've won the first game, but it's certainly interesting psychologically for both teams going into that game. Good, thanks guys.
Thank you.